Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing how to get the absolute maximum out of your blog. And I'm not talking about writing a shit ton of posts and posting 4, 5, 6 times a week. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about far less effort than that. We're talking strategy rather than more output. I've got a couple of little tricks and tips that I use for my own blog and that I suggest to my clients in various situations. So I'm going to take you through those and you can use them to fully maximize your blog as well. Before we get started, like or subscribe to my channel, especially if you like this video, then I can figure out what you like and keep making things especially for you in the Kylie Minogue type way. Especially for you. So let's start with the most obvious and easiest way to get more out of your blog, and that is to continually update the keywords in your posts. When you write a post 6 months ago, a year ago, the keywords that you used within the body of the text and within the meta description and the metadata in the background and to tag your images will have been superseded by new interesting keywords. The way that we search for things is always changing, especially with the rise of voice assistants, for example. People are searching for things in far more colloquial, regionalized ways. You know what I mean? Every single region has a different way of speaking, has different slang for things, and speaks in an entirely different way. That means that keywords are becoming really niche and granular with regard to locality. Also, they're becoming far more long tail. For example, I would say to my voice assistant, if I had one or used one, where can I find the nearest hair salon? And that is what is being searched, rather than hair salon, London, which is what we would have done before because we're typing it out and we want to use as few words as possible because we're lazy and we're typing with our hands, and that's harder than speaking out loud with our mouths. So that is just one small example of the way that keywords are evolving. To make sure that your site is always getting maximum traffic and remaining competitive in the rankings and just really working as hard as it possibly can be, you're going to want to go back every so often and just revise those keywords. Just have a little check-in with whichever system or tool or website you use for your keywords to just sense check that and make sure that they are bang tidy. Next up is repurposing content. This is kind of similar to updating your keywords, but in a sense that you're actually generating brand new content from stuff that you've written ages ago. You can't do this with just any blog post. For repurposing blog content, you need to go back through your analytics, either on the platform that you use for your blog or on Google or whatever you use for your website analytics, and just have a little check what's done particularly well for you in the past. We'll be moving on to evergreen blog content in the next point, but I just want to stress now for this one, you need to pick something evergreen. Don't choose something that was very specific to a time or a situation or a topic that is now no longer current or relevant or necessary. You need to find a really great post that is generic enough to be reusable and popular enough to be worth the effort. Then get that thing out again, revise it a little bit, make sure that it is still very current, that all the keywords within the post are updated, maybe give it a sexy new image, maybe even change the format. For example, if you wrote an article in the first place, maybe chop that down and turn it into a listicle, or reformat it completely and change it into an infographic. Or maybe you would like to change it into a top 5 thing. That's a listicle. You get my point. You want to take that thing apart, restructure it a little bit and sex it up, and then it gets even more traffic for you because it's brand new, it's new relevant content, and it's super exciting and minimal effort on your part. You know it's already golden, you know it already works, you're just reinventing it slightly and sexing it up a bit. So repurposing is a great way to maximize your blog output. As promised, next up, writing evergreen content. Ideally, you would like to have a mix of content on your site. For example, if you write about your own products and services in a kind of roundabout way, that's always good to have, and also situational, topical or current things that relate to you or your business, or that you want to hop on the back of and ride the trend. For example, just recently gone was the World Cup and also Wimbledon. People are trying to find any way they frigging can to relate that to whatever it is they do and write content on it because they want to jump on the rankings for that. The less said about that, the better. But let's just, for now, focus on the fact those posts are no good to you. They're not evergreen content. Evergreen content is something that will always remain relevant. Just a general topic that has done particularly well for you, and that content you can bring out again and again and again and revise and sex up. So if you want to have a wealth of blog posts that you can revisit and repurpose in the future, make sure that you've got a great selection of evergreen posts in your content plan, and that way you're kind of future-proofing your blog. You can go back and repurpose some of that stuff because it's not all isolated to a current product launch or a current topical event. Next up, and I should think this is pretty obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway just in case it's not, social. Promoting your blog posts on social media. There's no point in writing a blog post and letting it sit on your site and just hoping that people go back there. Even if they are subscribed to a mailing list and they're reading emails from you, I mean, they're not just gonna, they're gonna forget you. There's so much noise out there in the world, whether that be just blog content or social media content. People are they just instantly forget. So you need to always be reminding people that you're around, that this is what you write about, that you've got something interesting to talk about, and just making sure that you're always posting your stuff on social media. I like to include an even mix on my social media account of stuff that I've written ages ago that is relevant now, and brand new stuff that I'm creating. So I'm never running out of things to talk about because I'm still bringing out those old posts. So I'm making sure that my seasonal pieces from my content plan are still remaining seasonal into the future and are being promoted still on social media. And I'm also going to take those posts and turn them into fun, shareable little infographics or pictures that I can put on Pinterest or that I can use on Twitter and that can get reshared. It's just turning the content into something different so people aren't getting dead to it. They're seeing something new each time and it's really fun and they can engage with it, share it, interact with it, and it's just a little bit something different. It does give the content legs to go much further. Finally, and this one's a little bit sexy, case studies. We all know that people like to have a little bit of reassurance before they convert or buy or engage with you as a service or product. And the way they typically do this is word of mouth or through reviews. So you are best placed to showcase your work and your interaction with other clients and customers through case studies. And that can take the form of you just simply interviewing the person that you worked with and giving your side, getting their side, and creating not a massive, overlong piece of nonsense, but something really interesting like how we did X using Y, or how X increased their X using Y. If you know what I mean, the title, you immediately know that there is value to be had there. Someone else has already achieved it and you want to go in and find out how they used this thing to achieve this goal. And it's a lovely interactive piece. It's a two-way dialogue, so it's not boring. It's not just you blowing your own trumpet on your own platform like you're some kind of demigod. You're chatting with a customer. People are able to see the other point of view and what that person felt the value was for them within the interaction and the service and the product, etc. What you can then do with your lovely case study, as well as using it as a lovely case study to generate leads for your business, is also turning it into a blog post or turning it into an image that can be used on social, or putting it within an email newsletter, or using it for an awards entry, for example. There is so much stuff you can do with a case study, and it really not only helps to generate new leads for your business, but is also incredibly awesome content that you can use to promote yourself and engage with customers and remain relevant within your niche. So there's a lot of great stuff to be had, and I think that a lot of people seem to overlook case studies. I love them. I write them all the time. I've got a couple of them on my portfolio if you want to go and have a look, but they're amazing. So they're another way that you can get added value from your blog. Okay, we're at the end of the video. I hope you found this useful and have a couple of takeaway points that you can toddle off and action on your own blog. I know that I use these. I think that you should too. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask, you can sling a comment below and I'll answer them for you. Or you can find me on Twitter at EJCownley. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you're just a casual viewer, you can find me back here, same time, same place, next week for another wicked badass video. Until then, take care.